Just a few changes from that side. Have a look up front, Butts and Oliveira. And then on the bench, you can chuck in Philip Zincanagle, 4 goals, Brian Gutierrez, 5 goals. They have some firepower here tonight.
And they are ready to go. This is a team that is poised to win this trophy. On the other side, New England not averse to winning this trophy, but trying to strike that balance right now between league play and Open Cup play. Not Chicago. They are gunning for it. I feel this could be that first step in the right direction under Greg Berhalter, lifting the trophy and getting things moving in the right direction after what's been a difficult last decade for the Fire. And we're underway. Chicago left to right in the red, New England right to left in the gray. Glad to have you with us this evening with Gary Bailey. I'm Joe Malfa. Not the usual confines for the Rebs at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Had a good chat with collegiate career at Penn State. Big Ten as a senior last year in 2023, and has just been a stalwart in the lineup scoring for New England at the MLS Next Pro level. Let's go, indicating he was stepped on by Brandon Bai.
I think that's just incidental, and there was anything meant by it. Play continues.
Hughes. Bai. Service from Brendan Bai. Awkward on the clearance effort. Still struggling here, going the wrong way. Davila just has to push it out to safety, and it's out for a corner.
Back to these set pieces again. These are the moments for New England to come up with something. First thing, get the ball into the danger area. I always think the near post flick-ons are the most dangerous, because once you get a flick-on, then it's very, very difficult to mark. So I think that's one option. The other option is to knock it deep and just try and challenge foot on the edge of the 6-yard box.
Another corner for New England. Glanced on. Brady makes the save right to him. Didn't have to move for it.
It was a little bit of a near post one, wasn't it? Just short of the initial post. And even then, it's hard to get that sort of power on that ball. That one coming from Brandon Bai. Just think maybe you flick it on into the middle and then hope someone in a central position can get some power on it. But at least he tested the keeper.
First time that Chris Brady has had to spring into action. 21-year-old goalkeeper. Already 76 starts in his young MLS career. Has been asked to be the guy for Chicago over the last few years. Capped up through the U23 level for the U.S. and he's got a pretty decent shot to be on the Gold Cup final roster when all is said and done this year. Very murky goalkeeping situation right now for the United States.
Yeah, it's small comfort when you're winning secondary European prizes as opposed to the big ones.
Gutman looking through for Bamba, trying to square it through. It deflects in! On their first shot of the evening, Chicago find the net. It's Jonathan Bamba and the Fire lead.
Besides the fact the score's too close, it just hasn't been that good a performance by a star-studded team against a young side, against a MLS Next Pro team, effectively.
Just 1 minute of stoppage time. New England looking for that last opportunity of this half. Yule pirouettes away from Haile Selassie. Here's Butts on the turn. Liam Butts bringing it wide. Cups putting a good foot in. That ball stays in and Brady clears.
Well, that was cool under pressure, playing it back to the goalkeeper inside your 6-yard box, but they deal with it quite comfortably in the end.
An especially cool play when it's a 16-year-old to a 21-year-old as the center back to goalkeeper pairing there. And that's the whistle to end half number 1. It wasn't necessarily pretty or dominant, but a 1-0 at the break for the Chicago Fire. The first match to kick off in the round of 16 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Later on at San Jose and Portland, with 6 more matches tomorrow, and now underway in half number 2.
And it could be part how we see things and part just putting pressure on the referees, something which both sides seem to do at every, and not just these two teams, all teams seem to do as much as they possibly can.
There's Farrell. has not featured yet in MLS this year. Andrew Farrell, now 33 years of age, #1 pick back in the 2013 MLS draft. 5 times voted New England's Defender of the Year. Off the field, he's twice voted their Humanitarian of the Year. A dozen years as a fixture with the Revolution. All-time leader in appearances, starts, and minutes played for the club.
So he's a real superstar for the club, is what you're saying.
Yeah, when the history of New England over the last decade or so is written, you cannot write it without Andrew Farrell. A lot of ups they had in the earlier portion of this decade that is now nearly halfway through. Saw them lift the Supporter Shield in 2021. Still have not been able to find that star above the crest, though, in their club's illustrious history. Carried ahead here by Klein, going for goal. It's off the crossbar. Not a bad effort. It was afforded the space. Oliveira took it.
It is a great effort, isn't it? I mean, skimming off the crossbar. And you're having a look at Chris Beatty. I don't know if he's got all these star players that you have. And again, Hugo Kuipers, haven't heard much mentioned of him. There are all sorts of options on the bench for Greg Berhalter if he wants to shake things up. And we mentioned Brian Gutierrez and Philip Zincanagle and the youngster Sergio Orejel, who he spoke very highly of Greg Berhalter. Just a few, Tombalo, Omar Gonzalez. So plenty of ammunition on the bench. Just wonder when he'll start pulling the trigger.
Of this tournament, had already qualified for Champions Cup through a different method. Watch out, given away by Chris Brady here off the goal kick. On the turn, New England with an opportunity. Oliveira, and it's squandered. So all that's to say, these teams could be 3 wins from Champions Cup if chips fall the way they have the last couple of years. 3 wins from Champions Cup and possibly 4 wins from a trophy. So a long way to go before we get there, a long way to go tonight. Some sloppiness in this second half from Chicago. Some wind at the sails for New England, and a corner now for Yule. His service has lacked mightily tonight. All it takes, though, is 1. Yule, better service this time. Elliott heads it away. Oyerwath settles, blocked. Rifled back in from a distance, and Brady has it smothered.
Wow, when Oyerwath hit that, I was expecting him to try and go for a first timer. It could have gone anywhere, but it could also have gone in the back of the net. By the time he controlled it, then the shot was blocked. I just thought there was an instantaneous volley there for him, which had glory written all over it.
Chicago readying its first change. Brian Gutierrez will be the first one in for the Fire. Told it'll be for Jay Davila. One was just over the line. Throw coming for Chicago. First the sub. Gutierrez this past week was team of the match day for match day 14 in MLS. He had a brace in the 4-1 win over Charlotte. 5 goals in 9 starts this season, and he was also just named to the 60-man preliminary Gold Cup roster for the United States, along with his goalkeeper, Chris Brady. Great young talent for Chicago.
I just wonder if he can bring that sharpness up front that the Fire seem to have lacked so far. And unfortunately, New England can't call on the same level of subs. They've got a bunch of Revs 2 next pro
Here they
players.
go, it's turned over. Chicago through Haile Selassie, just over the bar. Chicago did well to force that moment of chaos at the back for New England. Could not capitalize. That is officially their first shot now.
But not their first shot on target. As it sailed over the crossbar. Good little nicking of the ball there. And then edge of the box. Just not enough quality to make the goalkeeper work. That's always, for me,
July 8th, July 9th, the slated window for the quarterfinals. Chicago, the last time they featured an Open Cup, did make the quarterfinal. Last year they were represented by their MLS Next Pro side. Back in 2023, they made the quarters and lost to the eventual champions Houston Dynamo in that round. New England were not represented last year. No presence first team or next pro. They last played back in 2023, upset by the Riverhounds in the round of 32. This one fed through, end line, whipped in front, almost another own goal, and now pounced to by Kuipers. His first meaningful touch of the evening perhaps puts this one out of reach. Fire up by 2.
And very similarly to the first goal, it's pressure out wide, ball whipped in, nearly an own goal again this time. But how quick and what quality Kuipers had there to hit that on the volley in the back of the net. And he's shaking his head. Maybe the injury's still bothering him, so he might come off soon now that they're 2-0 up. But pressure down the right-hand side here. Ball gets whipped in. Keep an eye on Kuipers in the middle. There's nearly an own goal off the crossbar, but straight away that left foot volley. Absolute class from Hugo Kuipers.
He said defending is simply a mindset and buy-in. We've seen that tonight from New England defensively, but once they've gotten here to these parts, that's where it's broken down. But now an opportunity on a free kick in a good spot. They tried to play it quickly. Referee whistled it dead because the ball was not near where the foul occurred. Might have been in motion too, the ball. It might be better off for New England. It didn't seem like it really went the way they wanted to on the quick free kick.
Let's have a look at the build-up on the edge of the box. They've had some moments, not many, the Revs, but they certainly have, and most of it's come from high pressure and turnover ball. They've had moments around the edge of the Chicago Fire box. Now, what can they do with it? Is it worth a strike from there and test Chris Brady? Is it a case of chipping it in? It's difficult to chip in from there. It's almost too close. So you would think logically it's going to be a shot on goal, and you just follow up. Hit the goalkeeper, see if he holds on to it. If he doesn't, you get 3 or 4 white shirts to follow up and try and knock in the rebound.
Bear in mind, very slick turf as well for the rains that have come in this second half. If Yule can bounce this one in front of Brady, Yule tries to do just that. Brady makes the stop.
He moves his feet well. Just sort of makes the save. Easing the forwards into thinking he hadn't got control, but he had.
Yule would have liked to bounce that about a yard sooner if he could have really get that big skip up off this wet turf.
I'm surprised more free kicks.
Oyerwath goes from distance after a nifty turn.
I was going to say, I'm surprised more free kicks aren't knocked into the ground in front of the keeper, because it's not easy, especially on turf, wet turf. It can skip up and it's hard to read. And here we have a look at the shot. Nice little turn there. Oyerwath, and then unfortunately just gets under the ball.
Substitutions for the New England Revolution in the 76th minute. Entering the match, number 39,
Marcos Diaz will replace Brandon Bai. Victor Souza comes on for Wyatt Omsberg. Triumphant road victory over their rivals Inter Miami this past weekend, and his position within the club and where they are now all stemmed from winning Open Cup in 2022. Awkward bounce off the corner here. Brady has it. So if you're Greg Berhalter, you're looking at it in a similar sense here. This is a tournament that could really set the table for what this club can be under him, and it's a way to come in with a signature moment, a signature bit to put into the history books and reinvigorate this fan base. He's not necessarily looking at those narratives, and he said there's plenty of narratives around Open Cup about it being an easy path to a trophy because it's only 5 wins or something of the sort, but he said it's still anything but easy. You still have to get into the games, win all the games, juggle your regular season while you're dealing with Open Cup and so on and so forth. So it's a really good opportunity here for Chicago, and the way things are going, they're only going to be 3 more wins away from that trophy.
I don't think getting into a cup final is easy at all. Only 2 teams get to the cup finals. It can't be easy, given how many start off. You've got to win every one of those games. You have an off day, that's you out the cup.
Zincanagle forcing his way through. Oh, look at this! Zincanagle with a touch of class! Beat a couple of defenders on his own. Blasts it home. Chicago will leave with the victory. Now it's set in stone.
Such quality off the bench with Zincanagle, and this is what he can do. Tough for New England Revs. They've battled so well. They've kept it within reason, but just now, gaps opening up. Quality players on the pitch. Look, he's unmarked. Here arrives. He's got time, just cuts inside. They haven't picked him up from midfield, but nonetheless, the body, the dropping of the shoulder going one way, then the other opens it up. And then the finish itself, goalkeeper goes a little bit early and decides to go to the goalkeeper's right. He puts it to the kickoff. Comes as to how the managers see it. But what a season so far for Philadelphia Union. It's been absolutely stunning.
We know one thing, Bradley Cornell will not be suiting up. He told you he had done his hamstring today, so he will certainly not be taking the field for Philadelphia. Get well soon, Bradley.
I said to him, at his age, you've got to stop trying to join in the the keep ball and what have you. Top class player in his day in Germany, Bradley Cornell, and now obviously highly successful manager given what he's done with Philly Union. But cups are a different story, and again, depends on who he decides to put out there as to what their odds are of going through against Pittsburgh Riverhounds. But as these minutes tick away, I just think Caleb Porter will look at this and go, we took them to the 69th, nearly 70th minute at 1-0. He'll feel that those 70 minutes were real quality. Yes, they got turned over in the end, but that's what he wants his players to learn. He wants to learn how, expected goals for Chicago is what, 0.3 or something, and yet they can punish you so quickly in so many ways. So these are all lessons for his young Revs 2 players, and if they learn from them, then hopefully it will benefit their careers.
Space now for New England to maybe salvage something late here. Cutting in at the back post, it's an own goal. We saw one in the first half in favor of Chicago, now one against the Fire. And New England pulls one back. Something for these fans in Providence to cheer about.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. It makes it the second own goal and could have been a third there. Justin Reynolds just getting in the way of this ball as it gets whipped in. He can't readjust himself in time, and he's got...
It's never really felt in doubt tonight for the Fire, and that final whistle confirms it. Chicago Fire through to the quarterfinal of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
Yeah, some quality players, a little bit of luck with the own goal at the very beginning from the bumper cross.